Welcome to Steve's Cottage with Steve Horner. Steve Horner, a former radio talk show host, helps spotlight the source of today's social chaos while offering practical solutions to the problems negatively affecting you and your family. And now, here's Steve.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Gee whiz, it's great to be with you. Thank you for your company. And I'm Steve Horner. And if the cottage is rocking, well, you just come right on in because you are exactly the type of person that we want to have on board. Say, Sean, before we get going, we're on another couple of platforms now. And I want people to be aware of not only the audio version of this show, but the audio and video, and they can catch the audio and video on Facebook and Spotify and Rumble. And you said something like we're back on YouTube?
Yeah, I made a new YouTube account for you.
Nice.
So they can look for you and...
What's the buzzwords? It's a little different than just checking in for Steve's Cottage.
If they look for Steve's Cottage, they'll find it.
Yeah, okay.
So Steve Horner, Steve's Cottage, they'll find it.
Great, because they had some political issues with me, and then now we're coming in, and because I guess their umbrella name is Meta, and they've changed a little more lenient and forgiving for.
Actually, no, YouTube is part of Google. They're not part of Meta.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I do have a stopwatch ready to see how long it takes for this account to be shut down.
Okay. Well, after today, it might be pretty quick.
I'm going to need one of those ones they use at the Olympics where it has like .00001
right
thousandths of a second.
Well, I'm bringing back Lefty Louie, the liberal bastard monkey.
What a great way to reintegrate yourself into the YouTube.
Right. So we're gonna test their First Amendment leniency, and gee, it's good to be here. I feel good. And in the last show, we were talking about Trump, the cunt thumper, and with this, in the context of this show, cunt is an acronym: C-U-N-T, C period, U period, N period, T period. Those women, doggone love them. They got their periods, but we men, we have our exclamation points. And we're going to talk about that today in this program called Drinking the Lemonade. If it doesn't make sense and you're being asked to drink the lemonade that will eventually kill you and bust up your family, well, you might want to take off the blinders and be a little more savvy about the world around you, folks, because it's coming hard at you and your family. And in that show, Trump, the cunt thumper, as he thumped Kamala and Hillary, we did a tribute to Bob Dylan's big hit, The Times They Are A-Changin'. Now, at home, I play a lot of Dylan. I love Dylan. Dylan, the Jew man from Minnesota, where I'm from. And he always professed his Judaism whenever he was on stage, as most Jews do within the first 5 minutes of them being on stage. Well, I'm a Jew, and fine. What are you looking for? Sympathy? Well, I don't know, but it's always there. And Dylan was no exception. But I like the melody of his songs, and I like the lyrics and the tunes. And his lyrics, his poetic lyrics, they're so captivating and so timely and so timeless. And so there was no surprise when he was noted to be a poet laureate recipient. Now, Bob is also a Medal of Freedom recipient, and that's awarded by President Obama. And I'll ask again, as I did with that last show, freedom from what? And I left you hanging with that, and I'm going to tell you the answer: the freedom from authority. That's why the lefties, like Lefty Louie, the liberal bastard monkey, who's coming on here in 5 or 10 minutes to sing a song with me, that's why they don't like Trump. Is because he's the alpha male with authority. That's why the kids are shooting the parents these days. You can't tell me that. It's happening frequently. in all these cities and towns across the nation, and by young girls as well. That never used to happen. The girls were always studious in school. They were always the ones to get the A's, always the one to get their homework done. But now, these girls, 18 to 49, they are the largest growing cell of prison and jail inmates across the country. Why? I don't have to follow your direction. It's the bent away from authority. In Bob's song, "The Times They Are A-Changin'," it speaks of a rebellious spirit, away from those age-old, time-tested conservative values that used to work, that kept crime down, that kept families together, that kept people in church, looking forward to living a good life so they can go to heaven after they pass and spend eternity with God. That's not much of the conversation anymore these days, is it? Because the definition of normal has changed. Too many people out there drinking the lemonade. Remember back in the late 70s, a guy by the name of Jim Jones had a whole bunch of people cow wrestled into believing his cult out of San Francisco. He moved them all to Guyana. Over 1,000 of them. He was extorting their money and he was beating them up if they didn't obey his every order. And finally, some legislators out of California got wind of this. Some Guyana officials got wind of it, and they were coming after him. And Jim Jones says, well, it's time to drink the lemonade because we ain't talking. And so nearly 1,000 men, women, and children, they openly drank in files in a line in front of the dirt, in front of this open area office and compound in the jungle of Guyana. Openly drank this cyanide-laced lemonade and killed them. Jones was found later not having drunk the cyanide-laced lemonade, but by somebody having shot him in the head. He had enemies. So when I speak of drinking the lemonade, that's what I'm talking about. And in Bob Dylan's song, it was "Times They Are A-Changing," a time to get away from authority, to be rebellious. But when I sang the song to you in that last show, it was a tribute to Trump, who said, we're going back to normal. That was the normal that I'm speaking of. Back to a time of love your parents, obey authority, go to church, do your exercises, doing your homework, getting along with your neighbor. And they were times of high home ownership, low government handout, low crime. People were married before they had children. And the children thrived because of that excellent duty of performance in those days of normality. And that's the type of normal that Trump is wanting to bring back. Not the type of normal that the cunts want you to adhere to follow the affirmative action dope in front of you, in front of the pack, and to then drink the lemonade, which inevitably kills you, but it sure tastes good going down, doesn't it? The drugs, the bad habits, the lecherous misbehavior out there, the lack of adhering to authority, tastes good. Doesn't work well for the body, though. And of course, a lot of that anti-establishment behavior was, has, and still is validated and glamorized by the cunts as normal. in Hollywood movies, television, and in popular music. Just think about it. Back when the Jimmy Dorsey and the Glenn Miller and that kind of stuff, the big Band-Aids, I was born just on the cusp of that. That was all about a good beat, good feel good, about love and social harmony, and then came folk music. You know, the Peter, Paul, and Mary, that was all about the same stuff, love, social harmony, and it just had a different beat. But now this next genre of music, well, it's not all about it's all about get the hell out of my way, because I want to drink that lemonade, whether you like it or not. And that was referred to, and that music is, these days, referred to as jungle jive. And so with that, let's bring on today's beautiful, beautiful friend. This is Louis, the lefty, Louis, the liberal. Get it right, Steve. What the hell are you talking about? Louis, the liberal, lefty Louis, the liberal bastard monkey. Hey, Steve, wait a minute. I don't like that damn name bastard. And then next you're going to talk about being illegitimate. It's illegitimate. Yeah, illegitimate. What the hell is that all about? Well, what I'm talking about here, Lefty, is that, you see, there was a time when the stigma of having children before being married, well, monkey don't get married. That's what I know, you see. But in humanity, with us humans, it was normal to get married before you had children, and the children ultimately did a lot better than they do now when they're raised by single parent, especially moms and single parent dads. But the single parent female headed household is disastrous. And the cunts, they want us to think that that's normal. Well, how about that word illegitimate? We monkeys don't have daddies, you see, so I guess you're saying that we're all illegitimate. No, I'm not. I'm saying that monkeys are not humans, and so you are not illegitimate. These children that are born to the single parent, they're not illegitimate. They're God's precious divine souls. We're all equal. But I'm saying that with the normal tag that the cunts have labeled this as, they don't do well. It's not normal. It's not good behavior. So you just settle down and take real good... Steve, don't touch me. Tell him who I am. Well, he's a big rock singer. He's got golden fingers, and he's loved anywhere he goes. It sounds like me. He sing about beauty, and he sing about truth at $10,000 a show. Right on. He take all sorts of pills to get all sorts of thrills, but the thrill he ain't never known is the thrill that'll get you when he gets his picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, gonna see my picture on the cover. Gonna buy 5 copies for my mother, not my daddy. Gonna see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone. He got a creepy old lady named a Cocaine Katie who embroiders on his jeans. He got a poor gray-haired daddy. He driving his limousine. Well, it's all designed to blow his mind, but his mind won't really be blown like the blow that'll get him when he get his picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, gonna see my picture on the cover. Gonna buy 5 copies for my mother, not my daddy. Going to see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone. We got a lot of little blue-eyed groupies who do anything he say. He got a genuine Indian guru. He teaching him a better way. He got all the friends that money can buy, but he never wants to be alone. But he keeps getting richer, but he can't get his picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, going to see my picture on the cover. Going to buy 5 copies for my mother, not my daddy. Going to see my smiling face on the cover of the Rolling Stone. Oh my, you liberal Louis, you lecherous bastard, illegitimate monkey. That was great. Yeah, I don't like no name, but thank you. That was good. And that was a little takeoff from the Captain Hook and the Medicine Show. That's absolutely right. And Steve, you saw them in person them one time. That's right, with my friend Ernestine back about 25 years ago at Club 97 in Bend, Oregon. Well, Steve, I got to get the hell out of here. I got to go raise hell with my illegitimate siblings. Bye-bye. Oh, that monkey, he is really fun to have, and wasn't that a great song? Now, the point I'm making with that Ray Sawyer and the Captain Hook was that this song is obviously meant to be a parody of the popular rock musicians and their music. I mean, it's a nursery rhyme compared to the nasty lyrics that are currently being played. I understand that. But still, it's a far cry from the peacefulness of the big bands and the folk music, because it speaks of getting high on drugs, glamorizing it, making it sound cool, glamorizing the abuse of young girls, and that friends can be bought with money. And sure, people laugh and they get on with these types of music and everything else. And we as adults, we know the history of it. But think of these young kids that are growing up now in the families of these single-parent moms. The mom goes out, dates a stranger. You stay home, Charlie, Susie, and Betty. And then, what are the names? Those are 2 common American names. Joe, Dick, and Booba. You stay home and watch TV, and so I'll be home, and you can make some popcorn. You see, so that's the nature of what goes on in the homes these. So there is no voice of authority in these homes. So and so these kids are being indoctrinated by the crap that they see on TV, on the radio, and on all their streaming platforms. See, there is no chaperone. There are no people of authority, and that's because the cunts have normalized it. And we sit back and do nothing about it because we've grown accustomed to drinking the lemonade because it tastes good. You see? Just short term, it tastes good. And so the cunts call all of this normal. But this type of music and these movies and all the bad behavior, it's harmful. And the young children are really, really susceptible to it. Now, Sean, I didn't put you on to this. Do you got a moment? Can you tie into the SteveHornerBooks.com and get that on the air? Because I've got that book called Cunt, C-U-N-T, and I'm selling a few copies of that. And the sequel to it is called Consequences. And that's what happens when we allow the cunts to normalize bad behavior. We suffer the consequences through the drugs, through the bad behavior, through the normalization of horseshit radio, movies, music, and we indoctrinate these kids with bad behavior and to throw their middle finger up at the face of authority. So that's the consequences. The single parenting book sells good, and that has a lot of really age-old, time-tested principles. And folks, that's at stevehornerbooks.com. Now, I would suggest that if you're interested in keeping these consequences out of your life and out of the lives of your children, then stop drinking the lemonade. Stop listening to the cunts tell you what is normal and what is not. You are the captain of your ship. As you go, so goes your family's ship. You are the one who has been endowed with wisdom. Wisdom through your experiences and your power of discernment to understand what's good, what's not good, what truly is normal based on the age-old, time-tested principles of conservatism. And either you have the courage to stand up for what's right or the cowardice to shy away from it. And I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks out there today is the false notion that we hear all around us these days in the movies and TV, on the interviews and the sports games, from your friends, your peers, at the church, at the library, from all those out proselytizing their religion and their take on what the Bible is. You hear it in the schools and the movies, and it goes something like this. Everything happens for a reason. Have you heard that lately? Everything happens for a reason. Or, I don't know, it's not up to me, it's up to God. Or, we cannot be saved by our own works. Folks, I'm telling you, from my perspective, that's all bullshit. God has given us the wisdom, the God-given wisdom, like I was telling Lefty Louie, is that these kids, they are not illegitimate, even though they're born to single parents. They're all gifts from God, all endowed with a divine spirit and soul that makes us all equal. And if we're prone to abide by the conscience that God has given us, to follow the road that we know is good and leads to us being strong, then we attain that good conscience and that good spirit of understanding, discernment, knowing what's good and what's bad. And we become strong, and we don't drink that lemonade. And we know what's normal because that's what works well for the well-being and the welfare and the long-term spiritual road to heaven for our families. So the words that go, that everything happens for a reason, those are words of cowards. It's exactly what the cunts want you to be singing as they continue to assign dysfunctional behavior as the new norm, just to make it acceptable and get you to drink the lemonade. I mean, did the LA fires happen because God wanted it? Do all the illegals end up in New York with that state going completely busted, bankrupt, and all the crime happening out there because God wants it? No, it's because we have cunts in control and pussy whip men like Gavin Newsom. You know, they have been elected by sissies and cowards who want to drink the lemonade of convenience. These people are not voted in or hired because of their competence, but rather their incompetence. Let's vote for this black woman in L.A. because she is a black woman in L.A., not because of her competence. And I say that wherever there is incompetence, you'll see the cunts have their nasty fingerprints all over the crime scene, along with the pussy boys that have no background, no backbone, and follow right along. And there you have it for today. So, folks, when you're on that road of life and you see the challenges and you got that mountaintop up there and you got to get to the top, sometimes I want you to get off that well-beaten trail and get off into the bushes. And you know what? It's going to be a tougher grind for you, but it's going to be better for your self-esteem. And it's going to make you stronger, and it's going to give you a better scenery when you're up on top. It's the best way to go. And so until you come back to see me again, you take real good care of yourself.
Thanks for joining us. Visit Steve's Cottage again with Steve Horner.